from India, just like WordPress. WordPress is web software. You can create a beautiful website on. It is free, and of course, and this really means that a wonderful community of developers and users who are constantly contributing to software, and that's one of the why it's so popular and it's so good. It was originally created as a blogging platform, now developed into a full-blown content management system, or CS. It is based, as I mentioned before, so therefore it works on PC, Mac, Linux, and with these apps you can actually use it in mobile devices such as iPad, iPhone, BlackBerry, or and devices. WordPress has become increasingly popular, and it currently powers over 6 million websites. Thousands of extensions, themes, and this is what really made WordPress so powerful, because there are so many different layouts, and you can make a beautiful website with the theme and the extension, the plugins really make WordPress so nimble, and you can do pretty much anything with WordPress. It is available in 2 flavors, WordPress.com, which is a fully hosted version. But there are some limitations as to what you can use these sites for, and also the features are premium features you would have to pay for. And additionally, there's a version available at WordPress.org, which is self-hosted, which you install on your hosting account domain. And this is a version that we're going to focus on throughout this video course. So in the next set of videos, I'm going to take you through how you can install WordPress, create your site, edit your site, customize it. The beautiful thing about WordPress is that you do all of this in your browser and without having to edit HTML. And this is why it really is so easy to use. So join me in the next set of videos and I'll show you how powerful WordPress is. Panels, doing already got a panel and just saying. So, your and for size In this video I'm going to show you how you can install WordPress manually through FTP or File Transfer Protocol, and we're going to need a couple of things. And the first thing you're going to need is the WordPress software, so you can get it at www.wordpress.org, and you just click this button that says download WordPress, and you want to always come here to get the latest version of WordPress. Now the reason that we install WordPress manually is just to get around some of the vulnerabilities that occur when we use auto installers such as Fantastico Deluxe, because this allows us to just customize the installation. And one of the things that we want to do is always get the latest version of WordPress, because sometimes when you use an auto installer it isn't the latest version. So you just select download WordPress. I already have it on my desktop, so I'm not going to download it again. And the next thing we're going to need is an FTP client. Now you can get one free called FileZilla, which is also open source, at filezilla-project.org. So that's filezilla-project.org, and what you want to do is get the download FileZilla client and not the download FileZilla server. So that's the client, and what this FTP client does is allows you to just upload multiple files to your server, and at a faster rate, because when you upload files to cPanel sometimes there are limitations on the file size. So this just gets around that problem, allows you to install pretty quickly. So you just go ahead and download the files to the client, and then you would activate the software as you would do any other software. And when you do that, it will look like this. And just one thing, if you go back, when you download the WordPress package, it's in a zip file, so you will have to unzip it. And then you go into FileZilla, and just a quick tutorial on how to connect using FileZilla. At the very top here, you will have host, and what you put here is FTP dot your site name. In this case I'm using WP video side click.com. So that's FTP, not www dot or HTTP. So it's FTP your site name.com, and then the username in most cases will be the same username you use to log into cPanel. So that's the username and password for cPanel, and the port you don't have to put it. The default should be 21, but you don't have to enter anything there. And once you do that, you just select Quick Connect, and you will connect to your server. And what you'll see something similar to this. On the left hand side will actually be the files on your desktop, and on the right hand side will actually be the files at your server, at your hosting account. So what I'm actually going to do, because you have to find the location where you've downloaded the WordPress package. So I'm just going to go back to the screen that you'll probably see. And to go up a folder, you just click this folder at the very top with the two dots beside it. And you will probably see something like this. And on the server side, something like this. Okay. So in my case, I would go to users, then I go to documents. Chances are you will have the WordPress package in your downloads folder. I'll just go to documents. I know that's where I have it. Let me go back up. Sorry, users. Right, so I go to my documents folder and WordPress 3.8.1, and it's the folder that's unzipped. And on the right hand side you will go to your public HTML folder, and this is just where you have all the public files for your website. And once you get in there, now what you're seeing, you will see some files in here. Chances are, if you've just activated this domain and this is the only domain you have in your hosting, you won't see anything there. But I do have WordPress already installed in my main site. But the site that we're going to use is actually an add-on domain. And if this is the case where you're using an add-on domain, you just search for it. And in this case, WP Video Sidekick. So if this was your main, let me just go back one step. If this was your main domain on the hosting account, and that's where you wanted to upload WordPress, then once you get inside your HTML, public HTML folder, you would be in the root of that domain, and this is where you would upload the WordPress files from the left. Well, like I said, in my case, I am uploading the files to an add-on domain, so I select wpvideosidekick.com, and now I'm in the root of that domain. So what we want to do is just select all these files, and we can do two things. We can drag the files over to this side and drop it, or we can just right click and select upload. Now this will take some time to upload to our site, so while that is happening, I'm just going to pause this video and we'll pick up in another video. Just one more quick thing, back in FileZilla. Now if you didn't want to install WordPress in the root of your domain, like I said, I'm in the root. If you look at the top where it says remote site public _HTML wpvideosidekick.com, so I'm in the root of that domain. But if you wanted to install WordPress in a subdirectory, so say you wanted to install in wpvideosidekick/blog, then you would just right click, create directory, name the directory blog, select OK, then you would have opened that folder, and then you would have uploaded all the WordPress files from the package into this area. Okay, so I'm actually just going to jump over to my site. So while the package is uploading, if you go to the home page of your site, you'll probably see something that looks like this, index of, and so there's nothing there right now, and that's fine. That's how it's supposed to look. And when WordPress has completed the upload, which it's just about finished, and it will take some time because it is a large package. If we go back over, so at our site now, all the files for WordPress have been uploaded. So if we refresh, then you'll see something very different. Now you just see this message here that says there doesn't seem to be a WP config file, and there's a button here that says create a configuration file. So you go ahead and select that button, and then you'll come to another page that says you will need the following: database name, database username, database password, database host, etc. And to get all of these, what we have to do is go to our cPanel as our hosting account and go ahead and just create a MySQL database. Now, I personally prefer to use the wizard because it just does it in a nice systematic way. So we select MySQL database wizard, and this is where we get to really customize the installation. So you can just put some random characters there, and you want to ensure that you have something like Notepad or even a bit of paper to write down all the information that we're going to create here. So I have Notepad ready. So I go to next step. Then I create a username for that database. And then I need to create a password. So there is a built-in password generator, so you can just use it, copy, and just click this box that says I have copied this password in a safe place. Use password, and it will just populate the password fields. And you want to go ahead and just type password, paste it there, and then you select create user. So passwords do not match, so let me just paste them again, and then we need to retype this bit at the top. Create user, and then it would just say that the user has been created with this password. So we are going to copy this information, the user name, over to our Notepad file, and we also need the database name, so we need to copy that over as well. So database name. If we go back to our site, you see they ask for database name, username, password, database host, and the table prefix. So if we go back, so we've copied the database username and the database name, and we have our password. And this box here that says all privileges, we just want to tick it so that we can have all the privilege which we will need to use this database for our WordPress installation. So we just select next step, and we just have a summary of the username, just in case you didn't get to copy it in the last page. You absolutely need to copy this information without the quotation marks. Okay, so if we go back over to our site, then this button at the bottom, we can just select let's go, and you will be taken to this screen where you will enter your database name. So we just go back to our Notepad file, and we have a database name. So the name and user. So we copy all of that over. And then the password goes there. Now for the database host, in 99% of cases, this will be the default. You don't have to change this. But if you enter this and it doesn't work, then you will have to contact your hosting company just to find out what it is that they use as their database hosts. But in 99% of the cases, this will work. And the table prefix, now you could just add a few letters and numbers just to customize this as well. And it's, as you see, the little note here says it's useful if you want to run multiple WordPress installations. So I'm just going to go ahead and select submit, and you will just get this message that says, okay, you made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database, and you just run the install, and then you would just have a few more customizations. Some of this will look familiar to you from when we did the installation automatically. So you name your sites, WP video site, click the username. You want to create something unique. I usually just use a combination of letters and numbers. never use admin. And so now we can just go back to our notepad. So our WP username, we need to just save that, and the password, and you just need to create something that's strong. Try using some common letters and capital letters, and what I'll do is just go back WP password. So if we go and I'm just creating a random password because this is just for demonstration. And if we go back here and we just paste it in, and the next thing you'd have to do is enter an email so that you can receive updates, and this would be the email that will be used for communication. And the last field that we have here is the privacy field, and you can just leave this ticked, allow search engines to index this site, and then you just select install. And then you will just see the screen here that says success, WordPress has been installed, and you've selected a username and of course the password that you selected. And if you just click the button that says login, it will take you to the login page, log into your site, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just going to go back to the home page of our site, and now you can see that instead of the message that we had there, which was pretty much blank, now we have a site installed with one of the default themes for WordPress and just some default post widgets, etc. So in the next set of videos, I'll take you through exactly how you can customize this site, change the themes, plugins, etc. Okay, so that's how you install WordPress manually through FTP. In this video, I just want to introduce you to the WordPress dashboard, and as you can see, we are here at our home page, and you can see one of the default themes that was installed when we install WordPress. And to get to our dashboard, we just need to put a / and then WP admin, WP-admin to our main website address, and then select enter, and it will just take us to a page where we can log in, and you would put your username and your password, which you would have created when you were installing WordPress. So if we just select login, and you will just see a few quick links here on the right hand side to say WordPress news and some other, and you can open and close these just by clicking on the arrow beside the label. You can do here, and you can also just move these around if you wanted for convenience. And on the left hand side you will see the main tabs, the main options. First one is a link to the home page of our dashboard, which if you click this link it will take you back to this exact location, and you see a link here for updates, which you should pay attention to. Whenever there is an update, you will see a number here. Let me just click on updates real quick, and you will see that it says that you have the latest version of WordPress. plugins are all up to date, your themes are all up to date. And this is important for, especially for security, as well as the functionality of WordPress and your plugins and themes. So you want to ensure that as soon as there's an update, that you do go ahead and update it. And you also want to create backups also as well before you do update, especially when it's a large update like the WordPress software itself. And we'll cover backups in another video, but for now you will see the other options here on the left hand side, and if there are additional options, you will see that it will just pop out. But if you were to go to this post page, you would also see some of these options that came. You'll see on the left hand side here the options that were previously on the pop out. So if we go back to our dashboard, the first thing you want to do is a bit of house cleaning, and we do that by going to settings and permalinks. Now the other options that are on the side here, we will cover these in future videos, so don't worry about it. But for now we're just going to go settings and permalinks, and we want to adjust our permalinks. Our permalink is basically the URLs that are created when we create content on our site. And by default, WordPress creates a page ID for each posted page that we create. Now, what it does is that it also puts this page ID into the URL structure, and well, this is not good for search engine optimization, and quite frankly it doesn't really make sense to people. It makes a lot of sense to the software, but not much sense to regular people. So let me just show you something real quick. If we will go to pages and select all pages, and by default a sample page would have been created, and if we select view, let me just open this in a new tab, you will see where it says our website address and then page ID equals 2. So of course this is ugly, it doesn't make any sense, and you do want to change this. So to change this, to put it in a format that's a lot more friendly, let's just go back to our permalinks. Then you just go down to the option that says post name, click the radio button beside it, and you will see under custom structure that a change has been made. And what you want to do is save this, save changes, and if we go back to our sample page and just refresh, you will see that it no longer has the question sign p equals 2, and it actually just says sample page, which makes a lot more sense. So now that we've sorted out our permalinks structure, then we can go in our next video and look at creating posts and pages. In this video I just want to quickly explain the differences between posts and pages, and I believe the best way to do this is to actually show you. So if we go to this very popular website, if you look along the top here in our menu, then pages like your privacy policy, about us, contact, these are pages, and the information on these pages don't change very often, and usually you wouldn't put comments, allow comments on these pages. So pages are ideal for information that's not really time sensitive, but information that you want your users to be able to access at all times. On the other hand, and pages are actually very static, so they're more static. On the other hand, posts tend to be time sensitive. For example, all these links here on the side are for posts, and if you look here It's like news updates. This one is 5 minutes ago, this one is 14 minutes ago, etc. And so we use posts for information that is more time sensitive, like I said, like news and updates about your site or your business. And generally you do allow comments on posts. But it's totally up to you. You can remove comments from posts, and we'll take a look at that in a future video. And you can add comments to pages. You do have the option to. But this is just to quickly show you some of the differences between posts and pages. And one more thing about posts is that they tend to appear in your site, as you can see here, in reverse chronological order. So newer posts will show up first. So eventually what will happen is that if you have a lot of posts, then depending on how you set your website up, then older posts will eventually disappear off your front page. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of the difference between posts and pages. In this video we're going to create a post, and here we are at our home page of our website, and as you can see here there is a post that was already created called Hello World, and by default posts will appear on your home page, and there is an option to change that, and we'll look at that in a future video. But this post of course was created when we installed WordPress, and it's just there for you to get a feel of how posts look on your website. So to create a new post, we of course have to log into our admin area at WP admin. And from our menu, select posts. And we will see a list of all the posts that have been created on our website. And as you can see, our Hello World post is here, and we have the option to edit it, quick edit, trash, or view the post. Now, you should delete this post because of course it's there for demonstration purposes, but I won't delete it just yet, as I want you to see how it will be affected once we create a new post. So to do that, we select Add New from the top there. And before we actually create the post, there are a few things on this page I want you to become familiar with. The first thing is at the very top here, in the right hand corner, is the screen options. Now this allows you to just customize what options appear on this screen. And you will see that a couple of boxes are already ticked: formats, categories, tags, featured image. And if you go and look at the right hand side here, you will see format, categories, and tags. So if you wanted to remove those options, you would just untick the boxes. And there are some additional options here that you probably do want to tick, such as the discussion box. And what that will do is allow you to control comments and chat back and pingbacks on your posts. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is the title. Of course, you'd want to name your post, and remember, based on how we set up our permalinks, the name of your post will appear in the URL. Okay, and you do have the option to adjust it, and I will show you how to do this. The next area is this area here, which is our WYSIWYG editor. Now WYSIWYG is an acronym that stands for what you see is what you get. So essentially whatever you type here and is basically how it will look on the front end of your site. If we go back over to the right hand side, you will see a couple of options. Right now the post is in draft status because we haven't typed in anything and we haven't selected publish. So once we'd finish, we'd select publish. And there are a couple of other options, such as the visibility, right? By default, all posts will be set to public, but you do have the option to select the post as password protected, where everyone will be able to see the post, but they will be prompted to enter a password to actually see the content. And another option is the private option, which no one will actually be able to see these posts at all except for your logged in users, which you have granted access to, such as your admin and editors, etc. And the password protected option is actually a great option to use to offer content to your members, paid content, etc. Okay, and if we go further down, you see, so let me set this back at public, and you will see format. Now, by default, there's a standard format for all WordPress posts, and that's what we are going to use, but you do have some other options, such as aside, image, video. And what these options will do, if you select them, they will, of course, for example, if you were to select image, and you had an image in your post, which is obviously why you'd want to select it, it would just highlight how the post would be displayed on your website, would highlight that image. And the same for video, audio, etc. Now, how it is displayed really does depend on the theme that you're using. So that is something you would have to test out to see the results. But for now, we're going to use a standard format, because that will allow us to add all those types of media. And also there are categories. Now, this allows you to basically, put your posts in a particular order. So for example, if your website was about sports and you covered soccer and basketball, then you could create a category just by add new category and name it soccer. So all the posts that you had about soccer would go in that category. You could just select it. And it makes it a lot easier, well, for you in terms of keeping your website in order, and also for your users who maybe are just interested in soccer, or users who are just interested in basketball to access those posts. And of course there are tags, which is really more for search engine optimization, which just, allows you to, give a description to say what your post is all about. And you can also set a featured image, which would show up, say, in an excerpt of your post on the front end of your site, so that people can have an idea of what your post is all about. Now, this video is actually getting a bit long, so I'm going to pause here, and in the next video we will actually create some content in our post.